Back at the wall again.
Shit.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Really? This is some bullshit.
Sean, what are we gonna do?
Sean Diaz! It's over! Don't make this worse!
It's Flores.
Get out of the car! Slow! Wave your hands above your head! Do exactly.
Somehow I don't think we're getting out of this one.
You know that day in Seattle? The day Dad was shot? I think about it every day. And I would give anything to change what happened. But I can't. I'm sorry for my mistakes. I tried my best. I swear.
Yeah, he's gonna give up.
Sean,
Yeah, we're not getting out of this
I'm
one.
so proud of you, and I know, just like Dad would be. We both learned a lot together, but you can make your own rules now. If we surrender, they will separate us, Daniel. And if that happens, promise me that you will always do the right thing, okay? Don't waste your power. Be smart like you already are.
I don't want to be separated.
Hear me out! Please!
I don't think we're getting out of this
Don't
one.
make any more mistakes!
Whatever happens,
Too late to surrender!
always remember that you're Daniel Diaz.
You know this is
I promise, Sean.
a trap. You can trust me. Please, get out of the car. Come on. There's no way out. This is our last
So,
warning. Listen up.
how does the story of the Wolf Brothers end?
Step out of the car. Now.
Well, again, only one right choice. Well, I think it's a right choice in the fact that it's a right choice in the fact that it doesn't matter, does it? Because, you know, even going to Mexico, there'll still be a chase by the cops, and we're not getting out of that. I think surrender is the only choice. I really do. I really don't think there's no point in doing anything else. Crossing the border, we could probably do it with Daniel's power, but they're just gonna live life on the run. I've said this the whole time. They're just gonna live life on the run. It's not gonna be any different in Mexico. They're still gonna have to hide and avoid the cops, and they seem to think that this life, but they're not gonna have it. Especially now, you know what I mean? Especially now that they're blocking the border right now. All they need to do is call the Mexico police. So there's nothing more we can do. We gotta surrender. There's no point.
I think their story ends right here.
Has to.
Here? But
We have to do it, Dan.
I could. I get it.
We have to do it, Dan. Can't do
It's
anything
not
else.
who we are.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're not criminals.
No.
We're just kids. And we still have time to choose what life we want to live. You're my brother. And I love you.
I love you too, Sean.
It's gonna be alright. I promise.
promise? For real this time?
I do. We're doing the right thing.
It's the only thing.
Just try and remember what I taught you.
It should have been what they did in the first place.
I mean, only the good shit.
I will. I swear.
It is bullshit though. I mean, yes, he has quite the rap sheet, but it had nothing to do with any of it.
On your knees!
This is the
I said
only
on
decision we
your
could
knees
make.
Now!
I'll go and see what the other ending is, but this is the only right choice we could make. There's no point. They'll only get hunted in Mexico. It makes no difference.
I'm sorry about all
It
this.
makes absolutely no
We're
difference
gonna
what
look
we
after
do.
your brother. That's my word. Okay, he's ready.
Sean! No! Sean!
Oye. He's gonna be fine.
Daniel! You're not a little wolf anymore. Never forget who you are. Never.
Such bullshit. It really is. They didn't do anything wrong. It only looks wrong because of the fact they ran away. But it wouldn't have mattered. Being in Mexico wouldn't have mattered. They still would have been hunted by the cops. It would make no difference. Absolutely no difference whether we crossed the border or not. It wouldn't make any difference at all. Because he's got such a crime sheet that they'd have to notify the, like, now that they know where they're going, they were right there, see? They were right there, so they know where they are. So all those people need to do is call the Mexico Police Department and they'll be chased by them as well. So, yeah. There's absolutely no reason to cross the border. There's none. It won't give them a better life. At least, to a degree, right? At least Sean can serve his time and rebuild the life afterwards. Look, there you go. Daniel got to go back to Chris. So it worked out better for Daniel's sake as well, look. This is the right choice. He got to go back to Chris. He got to make friends with, like, he got to stay friends with Chris. He got to see his grandparents and all that. He used to do that. He got graduated. So it was all better for him. It was better for him. And if we cross the border, we take that away because they'd be still out hiding. So this is the right choice. This is the right choice. This is the correct decision. It gives Daniel the best life he could possibly get. And I don't know how long Sean will get in prison, but at least he faced up to it. Even though he didn't do anything wrong really. But I guess, you know, they assumed he killed the cop. And then he's like, everywhere they go, something bad happens, and they're the prime suspects. But all those things, were not even their fault. All those things were out of our control. They brought Karen's age up. I like that. He got 15 years for that shit. I guess the punishment does fit the crime in that regard, but such bullshit. It had nothing to do with any of it. Shouldn't have even been chased in the first place. That's my opinion. But it gave Daniel the best life he could possibly get. That's the right decision. It gave Daniel the best life. So, yeah, that's the right choice. I will go back and I will see the other ending, but overall, that was the correct decision, I think. So I guess this is the end. So we get no explanation to Daniel's power. He just has it. He just has it by random. Wow. At least with Life is Strange 1 there was some sort of reason and some sort of purpose for it. You get nothing here. So we got the glass eye that Jacob was talking about. And they go back to where it all began, more or less. Daniel's probably going through some shit. That makes sense. Sean, I mean. That makes sense. It's fucked up, man. The only real bad thing they did was run away. And they made them look guilty. But all those things that he mentioned on the charge sheet were actually part of the game. They were part of the story. They were unavoidable. Well, probably the one with the church. Oh no, not the church. But the one before the church was unavoidable. Probably depending on what you pick. Pretty cool how they grew them up. That's pretty cool. So is he leaving? Is he leaving? Huh. That's cool. Ha! He's still got the power even now. It was the right decision to give him the best life possible. So I'm happy about that. And that's what Sean would have done. So I'm glad that we did that. Yeah, he's going the other way. So Sean's going somewhere. Probably going to Mexico or to find Cassidy. Either or. Wow. Alright, so we're just gonna see what the other ending is. I've curated a separate save so it doesn't mess with all my decisions. All my decisions that I've made so far. So let's check this out.
They make it to the other side.
What? You sure?
Trust me, okay? Just get us through. Hold on tight.
Oh, I don't wanna! I'm not hurting anyone else!
Sean!
Open fire!
It's too late! They're shooting at us, Daniel! This is the only way!
Shit.
I'm sorry, Sean, but I have to go.
What?
What?
What are you talking about?
Don't turn back from me.
Oh wow! So he leaves him.
I hope you'll be happy in Mexico.
Wow, he leaves him. So your shaping of him made him leave him. So they get separated anyway. So yeah. Meaning everything we did in this game means ultimately nothing because they get separated anyway. The only difference is he gets to Mexico and Daniel gives up. Wow. Why did he do that? Obviously because he didn't want to hurt anyone, but like I said, won't they just call the Mexico Police Department and have Sean captured anyway? Wow, so the way we shaped Daniel means he gave up. And then it's like the same things all over again. Wow. So it's basically the same ending. More or less. It's just that Daniel's not in prison. Sean's not in prison. That's it. Daniel got his own dog. Wow. Well, that makes that choice ultimately pointless. Yeah, meets up with Chris. Yeah, that was in the last ending. Bus avoids lake tragedy due to a miracle. I think that's new. So he goes back to his mom. He gets a car. So the pictures are slightly different, I think. Yeah, they're slightly different. Six years after the events at the border, so it's a shorter time span than the first ending. And he's obviously back at Claire and Steven's house. we gonna see anything or what? Oh no. He's most likely talking to Sean on the phone. Or his mom. I thought he was waving at Chris, that would have been awesome. So are you telling me that now he's crossed the border to Mexico, he's literally a free man, Sean? I don't know how the rules work, so I don't really know. Huh? So Karen rekindles her relationship with her parents. He sends Polaroids, wow. Yeah, because that's not a reference to Max at all. So he did hook up. He hooks up with Cassidy in this ending. That's sweet. That's cool because they don't in the first ending. So I like that one. I like that scenario a little better. It's pretty cool how Claire's not freaking out, but obviously she knows about it. So basically, Sean is a free man now that he's in Mexico for some reason. You know, the agency didn't call Mexico and put him in jail. Weird. Like I said, I don't really know how it works, how the rules work, and how that. He posted some sand. One. He etched Wolf Brothers in the tree. That's pretty sweet. Oh wow, really? Oh wow, really? So the second ending is less like Life is Strange 1. Well, I guess to be fair, that is a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool. What's the word? It's a pretty cool resolution. You know, it's a pretty cool ending. You know, because you know, he hooks up with Cassidy, which is pretty sweet. But I don't understand why Sean is a free man after that. I don't understand it. Do they not have? I don't know where. I don't know what Mexico does in terms of their laws or anything, but yeah, I don't get that. I still think surrendering was the right choice, but ultimately, it didn't really matter, did it? It didn't really matter because Daniel refused to go. So either way, they get separated. The only real difference between the endings is that in the surrender, Sean goes to prison. That is the only difference. And then you have the little thing in the woods, and then they go their separate ways after that. But it's almost no different to the other ending. What was the point? And I'll tell you this, right? That has been my major problem with this game, and I think I said this in the last episode. I truly feel that this story is the most linear, story-based choice game I have played so far. And what I mean is, think back to Life is Strange 1. Think back. Episode 2. Kate Marsh is on the roof. You save her. You talk her. Max goes up and you save her. And you talk her down. She ends up in the hospital as she's recovering. 2 days later, or 2 episodes later, in fact, 2 episodes later, you get this special scene with Max. If you save Kate, you get this special scene where she goes to the hospital and you check up on Kate Marsh. The most adorable nugget in all of Life is Strange, I'm just saying. But yeah, you go and see her. You get that resolution to that story arc, and you get something from like doing the right thing. Episode 4 was a consequence of your actions in episode 2. Dan D.W. McCann. I am almost certain that he voiced David Madsen in Before the Storm. I recognize the voice. I could be wrong, but I think he voiced David Madsen in Before the Storm. I could be wrong. But yeah, in episode 4, you got to see the result of saving Kate Marsh in episode 2. In episode 5, you get the meaningful goodbye kiss from Max and Chloe at the end as a result of you leading towards romancing Chloe by siding with her, by kissing her in episode 3. You get that. And if you don't do any of that, you get a hug. But if you do that and you romance Chloe throughout the rest of the game and you side with her, you get the kiss at the end. That was a consequence of what you did. I don't think there's anything in this game that does that, except for Daniel. I think with Daniel, you do that. What you teach Daniel shapes him as a person, and yeah, I think what you do with Daniel shapes him as a person and leads him to make the ultimate decision for himself if you go to cross the border, whether he jumps out or not. But apart from that, I don't think there's one thing in this game that really directly consequenced in a later episode. I said this in episode 4. The only thing that really did was sacrificing Arcadia Bay and seeing the bay from a distance for the first time. And then I think whether or not you destroy the bay, I do think David Madsen probably is still there anyway, but he probably just talks differently about Max and Chloe. Maybe he meets up with them later or something. Maybe. I haven't seen it yet. In the next video after this one I'm doing now, I'm going to do a bonus where I go back, I create a new save, and I pick that I destroyed Arcadia Bay just to see what the what the difference is. But I really feel that was the biggest choice you made that was factored into this game, but they were references. In fact, if David does appear in the destroyed Bay ending, then David is there no matter what, meaning that really isn't a consequence of what you did. That's just it. I think the consequence of what you did is maybe he meets up with them at some point, and maybe Chloe and David talk their shit out and get it over with. Maybe. Because that was obviously what he was telling us about. You know, he never got the chance to make it right, so maybe they do in the Arcadia Bay sacrifice scenario. But yeah, it ultimately, both endings have got the smallest variance I've ever seen. At least in Life is Strange 1, the variant was bigger. You either sacrificed the whole entire town or the girl that the protagonist loved. Here, it's just like small, inconsequential stuff and a variation of the ending that's shorter than the first one. I don't know, man. Okay, so let's review. Life is Strange 2, on its own, not mentioning Life is Strange 1 in the slightest, is an okay game. It really is just an okay game. Pros, I like Daniel and Sean a lot. I think they were great people throughout the whole game. I loved them, and I loved their brotherly bond that they had with each other. I think it was obvious, for obvious different reasons it's different, but I kind of do feel that, you know, they were kind of Max and Chloe. They had the hold on me from a different way, in a different perspective, obviously, but I think they held me in the same way. I ended up loving them throughout, and yeah, I ended up loving them throughout. So, and like Life is Strange 1, actually, I think the majority of characters I ended up loving. Brody, Cassidy, in fact almost the whole group in episode 3, apart from maybe Meryl and Joe, but I don't think they were absolute dipshits. I think that was just what they were doing. They were less than Carver, so, you know, that makes them better than him, I guess. So it wasn't really that much of a dictatorship, because they got to do their own thing in their off time, so I don't think it was that bad. Obviously there was a couple of episodes where you were with some jerk-offs, like in episode 4 you got that fucking douchebag that just beat on Sean for no reason. So there was that, but that ultimately led to nothing anyway. It was funny that they told you that the toy broke and that wasn't even mentioned in this episode, but that's what I mean. By not really a lot of what you did in this game really mattered. So yeah, I like the majority of characters, very much like Life is Strange 1. I like the protagonist, much like Life is Strange 1. I don't think there was an antagonist in this game. I think there was jerk-offs, but I don't think there was like an overall bad guy, really. The bad guys were more... They're not bad guys, they're just... They got different characteristics, I guess, to put it mildly. So yeah, I liked the majority of characters. Sean and Daniel in particular I really loved. Their dad, their mom even. Joan, David, yeah, all of that. As a plot, meh. It's not the greatest of plots, and I think the reason that is because so yeah, those are the positives. The negatives though, the plot isn't as great as the first game. Daniel's powers are never explained at all. It's just a mystery. He just gets them by at random, and no explanation as to why or how or whatever. It's just like every other kind of game or media where a guy. It's almost like She-Ra and the Princess of Power, how Adora just out of nowhere attains a sword and now all of a sudden she's superhuman and stuff. It's almost exactly like Adora, She-Ra and the Princess of Power, where Adora just picks up a sword and automatically now she's She-Ra and she's this like goddess that can save the world. It's not like that with Daniel, obviously, but his powers are random. His powers are completely random, no explanation, no supernatural explanation, nothing. There is nothing on Daniel's power, it's just there. It's just there as a plot device to do certain things with. Really. Really, that's all it is. To be completely honest, that's all it is. It's just a plot device more than anything. Yeah. Another one. So that's, yeah, the plot is okay. There are times when it slows to a crawl in terms of pacing. Wasn't really a big fan of that. Sometimes it would be very hard to find out what to actually do next. I think episode 5 had that thing where you were supposed to do this treasure hunt with Daniel, and I didn't even know you had to do that. It took me ages to find. Episode 1, it took me ages to find the towel. You know, there was just so much. There was so much wonder and so much talking to the point where it slowed the game pacing really down to the toilet. And like I said, episode 2 was the best episode by far. The second part of episode 4 was the second half of episode 4 was decent, and episode 1 and 5 were okay, and episode 3 just no. Episode 3 was the worst. Everything was slowed down to an absolute crawl, and the only real big thing was the thing at the end, which was unavoidable because either if you use Daniel's powers or not, Sean still lost his eye. And that's what I was saying earlier. I don't think any choice in this game really mattered in the grand scheme of it, because the ending stayed the same no matter what anyway. The beginning, I mean, that's another problem with the story. The time jumps at the beginning of the episode was ridiculous. The time jumps from episode 2 took so long, and it took so much out, and even with that, the episodes were still fucking long, dude. Seriously. There were long periods of this game where nothing happened, and I wasn't bored, but I was like, oh, I want to move on to something else. So, yeah. The story is not terrific, certainly not compared to... No, I'll do that later. So, on its own, Life is Strange 2 is an okay game. Likeable characters, and all that. The cons of a slow-paced game, not really anything. Any choice in this game you made didn't really matter at all, almost in 90% of it. And there's that. Compared to Life is Strange 1, no. Life is Strange 1 is, again, like Before the Storm, it's miles better. Life is Strange 1 is just so much better. I know I'm not comparing. It's very, like I said, I think in episode 4, it's very hard not to compare it to the first game when there's indirect and direct references to the first game in your face 90% of the time. I think Life is Strange 2 on its own stands as an okay game. Compared to Life is Strange 1, it's pale in comparison. It just is. Honest opinion, it just is. Pales in comparison to Life is Strange 1 by quite a margin, because the game's pacing is just bad. And for one, almost nothing choice in this game being made actually mattered much at all, apart from sacrificing Arcadia Bay. Really, and that was a game ago. But I think on its own, it was really part of the Life is Strange universe, to be fair to it. It had the intrigue, it had the supernatural element, it had likable characters. So I think this game, and even Captain Spirit now that I'm thinking about it, I think those two games did belong in the Life is Strange universe. Life is Strange Before the Storm belongs in the Life is Strange universe. These games belong on their own separately, I think. Life is Strange 1 is just an all-out magnificent game, magnificent writing. Some of it really cheesy sometimes, I admit, but Max, best girl, second to Kate Marsh, I think, just, and then Chloe. Price filled for life, bitches. Yeah, and you know, just yeah. But Life is Strange 2 on its own as a game is okay, but compared to Life is Strange 1, it's pale in comparison. It's on that Before the Storm level where it belongs, but it doesn't really. It's its own story. You know, because Before the Storm and Life is Strange 1 was slightly connected in terms of having Chloe and Rachel and a cameo from Brooke, Hayden, Dana, and all the characters. They had all the characters and none of the connection between the two games. It was its own game. And this feels like that. It really does. It feels like it's got no connection to the first game, although really it has. It's got like two big connections, with seeing Arcadia in the background, and David freaking Madsen. I mean, wow. David Madsen was in this episode. I still can't get over that. That was incredible. Yeah. Life is Strange 2 is okay. On its own. Pale in comparison to the first game, I have to admit. But on its own, it's okay. It's an okay game for sure. And it had likable characters. It had Life is Strange's what's the word? Traditional intrigue. But the story's pacing was just it was just in the toilet at times. It was so slow. Alright, so it looks like we've got 4 endings here. So in my original ending, because we skipped to the second one just after the first one ended, obviously, as you've just seen. Forced the roadblock and Daniel accepted, so you can do that, I guess. You decided to surrender to the police and Daniel accepted, which is what happened, and Daniel refused to surrender to the police. So you can do that. 31 got Daniel accepted to force the roadblock. 28 in my separate save, probably a little less in my first one. Decided to force the roadblock and Daniel refused and he left. The biggest majority decided to surrender to the police and Daniel accepted, but only 7% got the ending where you decided to surrender and Daniel refused to do it. So there's 4 different endings in opposed to 2 in Life is Strange 2. Life is Strange 1 had 2 endings and 1 right answer. Life is Strange 2 has 4 endings and 1 right answer. I think this here, I think that's the true ending of the game. I said that. I think that's the real ending of the game. That's the right ending. Overall, he taught Daniel to do his best to follow the rules of society. See, now that I think about it, I think that was the biggest thing when it came to your choices. Your choices that you made did shape Daniel, but that's about all they did. And I guess there's an amount of choices you can make. Much like, for example, if you sided with Chloe throughout the game, you got the kiss at the end. If you made the majority of choices, you sacrifice Arcadia Bay and you kiss Chloe at the end. If you don't do that, you get the hug at the end. That's pretty much what that is. What you did for Chloe gives you that variation, and that's what happened here. So it's pretty much like the ending of Life is Strange 1. It's almost exactly the same, just different scenarios, obviously. 38% taught Daniel to put himself and his brother first. So I wonder, if you mix these together, how many possible endings do you actually get? Do you get 8 endings? Do you get 8 endings of all these and mixed with that? So if you did this, you get 4 variations of this. If you did this, you get 4 variations of that. So you probably get about 7 or 8 endings like that. That's quite interesting, but I don't think I'm gonna... I don't know if I'm gonna go back and do those. The game takes too long for me to really care about it. I mean, I will obviously go into collectible mode and get the collectibles, but I think unlike the first game, I don't see myself playing this on every platform. Mainly because I don't have every platform anymore. I only have PC and maybe PS4, but I don't see myself doing that. It's because sometimes the game's pacing just goes into the toilet. At a lot of points throughout this game, actually. So, this would be the same as I did in the original save. So, you did the treasure hunt and found the hidden souvenir. 90%, but 3 didn't finish the quest and 7 refused to do it. Overall, got closer to Karen. 81%, 19% kept their distance. I don't know why. So you get 4 different variations here. You wrote a caring note to Karen, 68%. That doesn't surprise me. 11% with a counseling letter. A lukewarm letter, 6%. and a note, and didn't leave a note to Karen, 15%. Say farewell to Arthur and Stanley, 72 to 28%. The same to Joan. Nothing about David so far. Hugged Karen before leaving, 98 and 7 to 3%. Damn. You intervened to Con Diego in the cells, 73%. 24 stayed out of it. Freed the Mexican couple, 66% to 34%. That's much more even than I was expecting. Asked Daniel to open the vigilante cell, 17% did that and 83% didn't. I'm not surprised. I wasn't fucking letting them out. Fuck them. Daniel to take revenge on the vigilantes, 20% didn't hurt 80%. Didn't ask Daniel to kill the officers at the police station, 83%, 17 asked him to kill the officers. I guess this could be a big... These kind of things could be a big thing in Daniel's shaping. Daniel was told about the scorpion and stopped messing with it, 45%. 32% didn't tell him off at all. And 23% told him off, but he kept messing with it anyway. 81% Daniel managed to set up Joan's sculpture with your help. 15% Daniel managed to set up Joan's sculpture like he wanted. And 4% managed to help Joan with the sculpture without your help. Interesting. Don't think it really means anything, but okay. Daniel was concerned about auditing Officer Campbell, 62%. That's another morality thing. So it looks like to me that there's this hidden morality system that really is shaping Daniel. So the ones with Daniel do matter more, actually, now that I think about it. Daniel was concerned about hurting Officer Campbell. Daniel wasn't asked to free the vigilantes, 83%, because fuck them. 30% actually opened the cell, and 4% refused to do them. We didn't even ask. No, because fuck them. Daniel didn't have to lash out at the vigilantes, 81%. 13 took revenge and 6 refused. Daniel killed the officers when leaving the police station, 12%. He knocked out the officers, 39%. He locked them in the closet, 24%. So I'm in the lesser one. Forced to intervene because the officers got too close, 25%. So I actually missed out. I thought I was almost got that one, actually, to be fair. And the final one, Daniel was okay to kill the officers. Daniel was reluctant but forced to kill the officers. Daniel refused to kill the officers, 4%. And 84 didn't even ask. 1%. Daniel was reluctant to kill the officers, forced to kill the officers. Interesting. Alright, so that's it. Life is Strange 2 is completed. It is finally done. And it's okay. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Thank you for watching on YouTube or on Twitch, wherever you decided to do. Thanks to all the followers on the Twitch and subscribers on the YouTube channel. You're all awesome as usual. And I will see you in the next time. So, until then, guys, you know what to do. Follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I'm Mr. Nikias, and I'm signing off. Peace out. Stay safe, guys. As always, stay awesome.